Hello everyone, welcome back to Triton Cup 59. Once again, it is I, Mad Gamer II, and I am joined by Chili Boy.
Hello everybody, and do we have news for you? Our second seed, Cat Gang, just got 2-0'd by Rugrats, so, Rugrats, they've been on stream a couple of times tonight, they've not pulled any punches, but that is definitely something that we'd consider an upset from the seeding, and yeah, it just shows they are not to be underestimated at all. So Rugrats versus bET now, it's going to be very, very interesting set, I think, and I'm mad.
Indeed, that was such an upset that we weren't even able to observe, but it looks like we're going to be seeing what Rugrats, we saw Rugrats before going up against the Fame Monster, and they were able to put up a pretty good showing against them, but now we're getting to the last couple of teams. What was it that they brought to the table that just absolutely shut down what Cat Gang was bringing?
And do they have the skills to cope on Scorch Gorge zones? Because that's a pretty cruel place to have to go first. Tragically, that is what the map list gods have dictated. But we've got some more reasonable maps after this for, the next games.
Yeah, you kind of run out of options when you go for a full zones tournament, but what can you do? You trudge through the mud and you get to the good stuff. But I imagine Rugrats, they were running an E-leader, if I remember. No, that was a ballpoint that they brought. So that, either way, that is going to be an excellent pick for Scorch Gorge.
No, definitely agree. And I think as much as there are some maps that I think are objectively better than others, it is nice to see how the teams adapt to the maps that are kind of lesser used, because I think it just shows those team instincts, or those teams that have taken the time to really practice every map mode combination and not just the ones that are considered kind of more meta. The ballpoint is out on the side of bET, and we see a Nautilus and a ballpoint on the side of Rugrats. That is not a pairing you see much. It's normally one or the other.
Indeed, going for the double Splatling comp, and Splatlings are definitely strong for Scorch just because of the great there, but Nautilus is not the Splatling you would expect to see, and as you said, just not alongside a ballpoint either. And it is equally interesting that going up against Simo with that tent umbrella, and a nice pick by the bug already, but that's going to be 2 down off of Rugrats.
You blink and you kind of miss it. As soon as someone goes down, you swap camera to someone else and then they're gone. So yeah, power was on a tear there, but stopped in the end. bET managing to get first cap of zone, but was a very kind of messy initial engagement. They have just lost the slosher, so we'll see what Rugrats can do. I mean, my fear for Rugrats' comp is having 2 weapons that have a charge time for kind of any engagement means they're going to struggle big time if they lose too much map control, but they're managing to make it work here. It looks like they are crawling back into mid. They have lost 3 players though, so bET defending incredibly well right now.
I think having that 10 up on the top there, every time that Rugrats tries to make a move, we just see I think Simo here just on the Grace absolutely shutting down their one option to the mid there. Is they're either forced to contend with that Brilla or just drop into mid, and either is a choice you want to have to make, but they are going to have to go in for zone here. The Strike and the Crab coming out trying to make something happen, but the Inkjet counter right there, and then Simo still on top of there. They are down to 10 points of that zone. Rugrats has to take this back if they want to stay in this game.
They're doing what they can, but there's a Booyah Bomb coming out to put them in a really challenging position, and they have just lost 2 players, so I do think unless they manage to get a pick now, bET are going to clutch that one out in a straight sweep, 100-0. Couple of signs of life from Rugrats there, but I think that it was just quite a risky composition, really, wasn't it? And I think, like you were saying with Simo on the tent umbrella, they're just so good at controlling space, and then they can throw out that absolutely giant shield and just kind of waltz behind it relatively uncontested, and yeah, that was very, very hard for them to overcome. So difficult start, difficult place for opening match, but we're going to much more familiar territory now in the form of Mako for game 2, I believe. What do you think they need to do differently, Ahmad?
Well, see, I feel like Scorch Gorge there, run speed is the bread and butter of any Splatling, so they are perfect matches for greats, and the fact that Simo was able to exploit that and just shut down that one option, it just left them in a really bad spot for Gorge. But Mako doesn't have that kind of deficit that Scorch Gorge has, so I feel like they can definitely bring this back. I still don't know about the Nautilus ballpoint combo, but if they wanted to stick with it, this is definitely the map to do it, because they definitely have a lot more options going into zone.
I think all very fair observations there. Yeah, I mean, Nautilus, don't get me wrong, I love Nautilus as a weapon, I love ballpoint as a weapon, but together, that's unconventional. But we've seen a few unconventional comps tonight, and they have absolutely worked. So, limited opportunity to adapt here. There will be best of 5s from the next set, but this is still a best of 3. So, gonna be a bit of pressure on rugrats here to make this happen, but we'll see what they can do. Mako, I think, is a map that's been present for so long and is, generally been accepted as a good map for so long that people will be very, very well rehearsed on how to play this map well. So I think it is a good place to see teams' full potential. And rugrats, we've seen how good they are this evening. Like, they're not going to go down without a fight. So this could still go either way, I think.
It's funny that you mentioned, like, as you said, a lot of teams are very practiced on this map because it's one of the more popular ones, but going back to that tent umbrella, Simo is definitely a very dedicated tent player, but with the amount of like just obstacles and terrain, like we saw how they were able to just hold down space by throwing out their tent umbrella. You can't really do that on Mako. Like, there's just too many obstacles for it to get caught on. I'm wondering how they're gonna combat that here, especially considering they have a bucket and a 52 on Rugrats side.
Yeah, I think this is a really good compositional adaptation from Rugrats that's responded to what bET are bringing. Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue to how to play Brella here, to be honest, Imad, but I guess we're going to be educated by Simo right now, and very scrappy start again. The tactical has gone up for bET, but they have lost 2 players trying to get set up. Looks like they've done quite a good job of shutting down that offensive push. Simo getting shut down, but with a tactical buff, they'll be back up in no time, but Rugrats should be able to get a cap here. Yeah, they do, so we will see now with Rugrats having a little bit of momentum if they manage to capitalize on it, but it feels like all of bET are back in the match already.
Yeah, like Rugrats definitely got like 2 or 3 down off of bET, but then like in the time it took them to cap the zone, bET was already back and contesting it, and we see that they have all their specials online ready to go, and a nice pick by Simo there, but does get the counter pick from the ballpoint. Rugrats are holding on to the zone for the time being, but bET is doing their utmost just to contest it.
I'm loving all these sky battles we're seeing now with like these 2 ink jets floating around near each other and threatening one another. It looks like they were prioritizing other targets there, but Rugrats have had a number of really impressive picks here. Simo maining Zuka right now, doing a beautiful job, being shut down, but not without causing a lot of damage. So this is going to be bET's best opportunity to get a recap. They do not waste any time doing so, and now they've got a numbers advantage. So this is where bET gets really scary. Rugrats need to regroup. What they do not want is a situation where they're having staggered deaths one by one, because they do not have a tactical to address that. That was a beautiful engagement by the 52, so they see if they can make something happen here.
Indeed, that 52 just took down 3 members of bET, and with the ink strike, that's going to be an immediate cap for Rugrats. 23 is nothing to sneeze at. Like, you've got a long way to go to be able to bring that back, so Rugrats are able to take their time here. Like, they can make their approaches a little bit more cautiously. They don't have to really make any risky plays as bET has to do, because bET has to be able to lock this down and keep it for a good amount of time.
They do, and they're going to be forced to play this far more aggressively than perhaps they might have wanted to, but they have a composition that really allows them to take risks and allows them to recover from losing engagement. So we'll see how that plays out. Rugrats did very, very well to retake that previous zone, but you are right that the 52 did a bulk of the work in those engagements in the corner. That's a beautiful inkjet direct from one of their players, and it looks like they're trying to do what they can, but this is a very, very blue map right now, Imad, and it's not looking good for Rugrats at all.
No, not at all, Chili. Like, that is going to be 3 members down, just the ballpoint getting shut down right at the end there, and with 10 points remaining, this is going to be a nice KO for bET here, making this a 2-0 victory over Rugrats.
This is a bit of a tragedy for us, isn't it? Every time we get a match on stream, we're seeing wipes that, don't get me wrong, it's still very engaging gameplay, but I think we've seen a few games on set now that, the story on challenge shows 2-0 sweeps, but the potential of both teams and what we see in terms of the skirmishes show that these are, you know, sets that really could have gone either way, or very often could have gone to game 3s or game 5s respectively. That is going to be the end of Rugrats' run, but I mean, what a showing they've given us. They've been on stream 3 times. They've been an absolute delight each time, and they've really shown what they can do. So I think they can be very proud of how they've performed. And bET, the scary people that they are going to go against the number 1 seeds Protégé for the chance of a run back versus Hell's Paradise. So that is going to be a really messy set, I think.
Yeah, and this is going to be a bit of a rematch. Protégé was the one that sent bET to the loser bracket to begin with. So, like, this is definitely their chance of coming back. And the fact that they beat Rugrats, the team that 2-0'd Cat Game, which was the number 2 seed, they are definitely going to be coming at this swinging.
Oh, it's all part of the script, isn't it? I love a good revenge arc, and yeah, I guess they're going to be feeling that coming into the match. And I guess the other variable to consider here, we were talking about it earlier, Ahmad, weren't we? About you know, when you've been knocked down to losers after a good winners run, and you have that long wait before your next tournament set. You know, you can go a bit cold, your hands are not as warmed up, your head's not kind of as in the game maybe, unless you're constantly you know, doing squads or X rank or something in between. So bET are coming really fresh off their, you know, quite lengthy run, and Protégé have had a bit of time to cool down, so it'll be interesting to see if that comes into, if that factors kind of into the performance at all.
Oh, absolutely. But in the meantime, I believe we'll be going to another short break before our Losers Finals, who is going to be taking on the champions in Grand Finals. We'll have to see. Stay tuned and we'll be back in a bit.
We'll see you very soon, folks.